Okay, let's get this started. Well, we got two in here right now. How y'all doing? What's up, BL? Hey, prepping. I'm gonna wait for a couple more to get here. If any show up. I'm just saying 8 o'clock right now. That's when I usually start. So, hey, prepping. Yeah, all's good. All's good here. Other than I kind of. Hey, purple. What's up, hon? Yeah. FLP told me he wasn't going to be here, so that's cool. He says he's going to catch it later. But try to get a couple more people in here. It's just I had one hellacious day at work, so I'm like, I'm not going to start to the last minute, so I can make sure I get all this angst out of my system. But yeah, work was interesting today, to say the least. Nothing that like that. A little Skinner, Marshall Tucker, and not Blackfoot, Molly Hatchet couldn't take care of. Ugh. Do. Well, I kind of found out that I'm on Thursday. I'm gonna be switching routes again. It's like I get a route, I run it good. What's up, Will? I get a route, I run it good, and next thing you know, hey Cheryl. Next thing you know, it's like I get used to the route, and once I get used to the route, they switch me up. I think I've been there 7 years, and this is like my 10th route there. Yeah, exactly. Just they're moving me, they're moving another guy, they're moving like four or five of us in one shot. I'm like, and what's supposed to be my sister route, the kid that I was training today was on the route that I came off of before I got this route. I'm like, why don't you just flip us back to where we were? Let's run that way, and we could go back and forth. They ain't right. That's the whole thing. They ain't right. I think about the soon but the soonest they'll become right is when they're irrelevant. So, but yeah, just ah, and I'm done with that. The good thing about the route I'm on, I get to sleep in for an extra half an hour to an hour before I have to get up. So that's the trade off. Yeah, pretty much. Oh, that's the whole thing. Before I got this route, I was on a route that we used to call a cake run, and the kid that I'm well, not the kid. He's about the same age as me. The guy I'm training on my route today and tomorrow. That I trained today and I'm training tomorrow. Just came off that route. That route will spoil you, but the route I'm on now, once you get used to it, me and him are still getting back at about the same time. So, but it is what it is. That's work. Yeah, the route I'm going on though doesn't get back to like 4:30. Oh, not 4:30. Doesn't get back to like 3:30 ish. Yeah, I know. I'm just not looking forward to getting home at 5 again. I'm like, when I don't have my second run, I'm getting home like about 3. But it is what it is. You and me both, Purple. You and me both. But it looks like we got some people in here, so let's get this shindig started. Which is really weird. I look in the participants list, I only have 3 people, and I know there's a lot more than 3 people in the chat right now. But as you guys know, well, Purple and Backwoods Law was there. But as you guys know, that I had a meet and greet on Saturday, and it went much better. It went much better than I expected. Yeah, see, you're getting 8 people. I'm only getting 3. I don't know. Thanks, YouTube. But yeah, as I said, things were much better than I expected. Everybody had a ball. Everybody had a ball. And Rescue Boss's kid, he was. I think I had just about as much fun watching him as I did talking to everybody else because he just wouldn't stop. He's just on the go constantly. Um, yeah, for a while after everybody got there, for a while, I just kind of just sat back and listened to exactly. But for a while, I just sat back and listened, didn't really say anything, just listened to different conversations that were going on, like Backwoods and Rescue Boss talking about first aid and rescue and doing this and that and the other thing and that was just absolutely fascinating. Then listening to Virginia Prepper and Survival Comms talking about some other thing, and then FLP teaching the kid how to use a ferro rod and just all the different conversations he had. I mean, I just for about an hour, I probably didn't even really talk that much. And this is after everybody got there. Hey, Nina. Oh, I'm sorry, Nina. I hope you feel better, hon. I'll be praying for you. Hey, Juanita. Yeah, yes, he did. But yeah, FLP was taught had a couple, 2, 3 people. I got offered, but I'm just like, what happens to me? And I wasn't trying to put him off. I have a ton of ferro rods as it is. I forgot how many I had till I moved something. Like all of them fell all over the floor. I was like, oh. But when I'm in front of somebody, if I feel like I have to do it for somebody, I get nervous. But if I'm just out in the middle of the woods, I can sit there and just spark that thing all day long. I don't know. I must have what they call it, performance anxiety. I don't know. But I mean, a good time was had by all. Um, Timo. Oh, well, Timo's a riot. That's it, Backwoods. Timo, a world without rule of law. He is a riot. And just all kinds of things. We had the raffle. The raffle went great. And I think everybody got what they wanted. I had just give outs to give out, and it seemed like those colossal cups were the thing. Yes, he does. Oh yeah. Oh, as I said, Timo's a riot. Oh, I just stayed at I just camped in a church down in West Virginia. Oh yeah. I mean, but And the pizza. That pizza was. That's the first time I actually had Pizza Joe's pizza, and the pizza was good. That the the pizza was like one of the blind things I did. I'm like, I never had Pizza Joe's before, so let's get Pizza Joe's pizza. But it was just a. And what amazed me for something I kind of threw together at the last minute, which that's how I operate. If you give me wait if I wait to the last minute and throw something together, 9 times out of 10, with the people who came, and the people who came were great and they helped a lot, I can make it work, or we can make it work. If I plan the thing out too far in advance, for some reason it just totally falls apart. But I definitely plan on having another one next year. Yes, it does. I mean, I do have a couple ideas that I'm going to kick around for next year, but um, just um, it's probably going to be about the same time next year because when I request off from work, isn't like I can wait till like 2 weeks before I want to go someplace and just request off and go. I have to have my vacation time in before the second week of January, or I don't get it. Hey, what's up, Bresky boss? Actually, the way it went down, well, it was fine because everybody just kind of came together, and I provided the place. Um, Other people provided other things. Um, like like uh, Backwoods and Purple showed up with the coffee, and FOP showed up with stuff. Well, everybody showed up with something. Like Timo showed up with that coffee press, and just everything just kind of came together. And basically, I'm saying all this to say this. I think I wouldn't say as a unit, more like a family. We kind of came together as a family, all of us, and we all, in a way, and I think to the people who came, I think I said it all in the email. In a way, I think we filled a gap that we all needed at the same time, which is not computer time, but like face to face camaraderie, fellowship. Exactly, Purple. We are family. And I think we all filled a gap for each other, which is that face to face personal time. You could only go or get so deep into a relationship with somebody, regardless whether it's romantic or it's a friendship or whatever. You can only go so far online. You kind of have to take that next step to make it grow or make it progress even more. Hey, Mickey. Exactly. But that's what Rescue Boss said there. And I heard what Backwoods did with that cart that you gave out for the raffle. Backwoods Law, didn't you make a crash cart out of that pretty much? As I said, I think I said this Rescue Bot before. Yeah, I think I said the Rescue Bot. Yeah, well, yeah, trauma box. Well the trauma units they used to use in the one hospital I used to deliver to. They called them crash boxes. We got a crash box. But who wouldn't want to have a fully stocked trauma box in their bug out location or wherever? That is just cool. That yeah, Timo just gave me a three like a hydration pack, which I'm going to be probably using that here soon. Yeah, see, I was looking at one of those for a toolbox, but I didn't end up buying it. Like a rolling toolbox for something else. Oh, I can imagine. Kind of, sort of. It's like a two-piece toolbox that you can kind of tote behind you like a rolling suitcase. But it's was about a little over 3 feet tall and about a foot wide. Yeah, that I did. I did. Yeah, because it's too narrow and too tall. It looks like if you put any weight in the top, it'll get just a little bit too top heavy. Unless you really strapped it in. Now, if you strapped it in or had some way to strap it in secure, like on my Jeep, there's no real way to strap it in unless the straps are low, and it's yeah. But that I like that idea. Plus, we had a oh, there you go. Ah, yeah. Rescue Boss also brought a fully stocked, like, that wasn't like a trauma bag. What was that? That was like a big, like a fully stocked first aid kit, or was that like a trauma bag at Rescue Boss? The other thing you brought. Okay, yeah, and that was nice too. And with Rescue Boss, with him, correct me if correct me if I'm wrong, Rescue Boss, but a lot of, then you brought like two bags of just nothing but extras that you had, just extras of this, that, and the other thing that you're just trying to thin out on. See, I have stuff like that too, but it's not really for first aid unless you want a bunch of 164 scale cars. Yeah, that's not going to do anybody any good. Maybe Rescue Boss's kid, but nobody else unless you collect them like I do. So I have a couple guilty pleasures. What can I say? Oh, that they are. And long story short about that is I'm replacing a lot of what I have with better versions of what I have. So, and like the tractor part, I keep all the tractors I keep, but like the cars for my display, I have like the cheap ones now, but I'm kind of going through and getting like more detailed versions of some of the stuff I already have. So I'm kind of just rotating all that out once I actually get to the rotation part. Well, you guys are close enough. Once I go through go through a lot of that stuff, I could probably run them over to you. No big deal. Well, see, I haven't heard about that prepping, so that should be interesting. Yeah, because I'm on Facebook too, but I haven't seen that Stat TQ yet. May have to look it up after we're done here. Oh, Mickey, the get together was awesome, absolutely awesome. And it's one of those things is um, one of the things is it's just it was simple yet intricate because as I was telling everybody, like just on my end of it, I kind of sat back and just kind of listened to different conversations, kind of like a fly on a wall for almost an hour. And it's just like fascinating, especially listening to survival comps talk about different radios, how to set them up, coax, cable, and all this other stuff. Yeah, because I think Purple, you did about the same thing there for a while. You just kind of sat back and just listened to everybody else talk too, didn't you, Purple? Oh, yes, we did. A ton of it. And like I told FLPs, it's like a lot of the outdoor stuff I have multiples of, but listening to people like how they do things and like some of the stuff that I'm not too versed on, like electronics or first aid or some of this other stuff. Hey, Chrissy, did you order anything today, Chrissy? Before after I left, please say you ordered something. Yeah, Chrissy. I think I told you guys she works at one of the places I deliver to. But yeah, just some of the stuff like I talked to Survival Comms about putting my CB in my Jeep and how I could go about doing that. Yes, one more day. I like that. But yeah, like I talked to Survival Comms before he left about putting the CB in my Jeep, and I'm thinking it'd be about the same if I did a two-way radio or whatever I decide to do there. But and I have like a magnetic mount antenna, so I don't have to drill any holes for that. I just go boom and run the antenna right out the back of the Jeep. And oh, no problem, Rescue Boss. Oh, talking about hemostats, I have a ton of those, and I didn't get them for first aid. I used to be a model builder, and those hemostats, most of my hemostats have paint on them, but those were hemostats work great for a bunch of different things. I think about the only first aid stuff I ever used to use hemostats for is to dig splinters out. Oh, actually, all the hemostats I bought before I started working this job. Oh, but those hemostats are awesome for all kinds of stuff. Um, I know a friend of mine uses them to tie his own flies, like for fly fishing. I used to use them for whole parts for model building. Um, use them for a couple, two, three things. I also found that they're gonna laugh at this, but for like real fine wire, if I have to form like real fine wire, they work real great for that too, because you can't get too much torque on it. Or you don't flat if it's a real soft wire, you don't flatten it out too much either. I know me and my crazy ideas, but it works. So, hey, Christy, let's see. Yeah, there's another use for them there. Oh, I can imagine. Which is one of the original reasons hemostats were made, if I'm not mistaken. That and they actually work great for sewing somebody up too. Hey, Frank, that's actually one thing I actually need to add to mine. Oh, we always are purple, and I just sit there like if you see me like stop to look off this way, that's where my cat's at over there, just like with you guys. And something's caught my eye there, and I'm like, hmm. I can imagine it probably worked a lot better than a tourniquet. You probably still had to time it out like a tourniquet, but it probably worked better than a tourniquet for instead of killing off the whole limb, you're only really hurting one artery instead of the whole blood supply. I could be wrong on that, but that's a wild guess. This is true. Now, like one of the ideas, getting back to the get together, That's interesting. I have two pool noodles here. The last time I actually used any of my pool noodles, I used it to beat the hell out of somebody, mockingly. Kind of joking around, womp 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 womp. But talk about pool noodles. One of the things that I've used pool noodles for, well, that I use pool noodles for, is for sheaths. I have one, two, three things I use pool noodles or sheaths for. I have one around one of my draw knives, around my spoke shave, and on my buck saw. It's a cheap, easy sheath to make. Just slice it in half, slap it on, put a little bit of paracord on it, and you're good to go. Oh yeah, last night was good too. Really good. Yeah, so there's an idea for you for makeshift sheath. Pool noodles all the way, and you could go down to the dollar store and get them for $1 a piece. That's actually a good idea, Mickey. That's like on my little hiking tarp I have. I don't use pool noodles, but that's why I put hunter safety orange for the guy lines on it so I could see them. And I use the big yellow stakes. Yeah, like the hiking tarp that I come actually comes with like the it looks like the one of the strands out of the out of the paracord, like one of the strands that you get out of the casing. But I the first time I put it up with one of those little things on it. Oh, geez, your son's friend's one of them. Yeah, that's why I went the hot. Yeah, which some people talking about just talking about stuff like that. Some people laugh at me because I would usually err on the side of safety. Um, I'll show you my walking stick. I'm going to pull west for about 5 seconds, if not less. I'm going to show you my walking stick. Here we go. Now let me back up so you can see. See the color of that the wrap paracord handle on here? It used to be black, and I changed it to orange. And the only reason is I dropped it when it was dropped this box like a couple, two, three times with the black handle on it, and I couldn't find it because it blended in with everything else, and I ended up tripping over the thing. I'm like, I ain't gonna let that happen again. But this one here, you can't really see the finish on it, and it's actually finish wise, it's not one of my better ones. And I found out Osage Orange doesn't really take well to stain. But this is Osage Orange, and underneath the bark, when I took the bark off it, and the bark just fell off, had all these tracks in here from insects between the bark and the pulpwood. So yeah, this one is my personal walking stick. I don't think I'll ever get rid of this one. It's lightweight, but it's hard as a rock. Which talking about that, the one I was trying to get done for the get together, I'm still waiting for it to dry. It's still still feels tacky. I'm gonna give it one more day. I'm gonna give it one more day, and if it doesn't, if it still feels tacky tomorrow when I get home from work, I'm gonna wipe it down with a paper towel, see if it feels any different. Then I'm gonna give it a quick sand and start putting the poly to it. Which the one that I'm working on now is a piece of maple. This one here, it's hard as a rock, but it's a little thin. So if I had to, like, if I had really had to use it to defend myself, I would probably break it. The piece of maple I have downstairs, which is a little bit bigger around than this, I wouldn't hesitate to haul off and crank somebody with it. That one ain't going to break anytime soon. Hmm. Yeah, like with this walking stick and the one I'm doing downstairs is mostly a walking stick, but always kind of with the walking stick keep the fence in mind. I do go in some areas where there's some black bears. Black bears 9 times out of 10 are not going to mess with you. My problem is, and my situational awareness isn't too bad, but when you hike, and I know very experienced hikers that do the same thing I do, somewhere along the line, when you get fatigued, you're going to zone out for a while. It's almost like autopilot. You're just going to zone out for a while and just keep on going and just minimal looking for where you need to be going, like what the blazes look like. You kind of get into a rhythm and you just go on autopilot and go. So, and it wouldn't be the first time that I jumped something that wasn't aware I was going to jump. Not and they've always ran away from me, but there's always going to be that one who's going to run at me. I'm like, well, I need to be ready for this. Not saying I'm going to beat the bear, but I'm sure going to make him think twice before he does anything else. And what's funny is I used to deal with 1,200-pound horses, and a couple of them, not my own. My own were pretty good, except for Barney. Barney would go a little haywire every once in a while. We get into a fight, and I always got the better of him. But when you got a 1,200-pound animal coming after you, I don't get too worried about a 400-pound black bear. 1,200 pounds that has maces on his feet, and 400 pounds got some claws on his feet. I'm more worried about the 1,200 pound, which has about an 8 foot reach on me. But that's just me. It's one of them farm. I wouldn't say farm kid, but horse kid things. Oh, see, I think the next one I do is going to have something like that. In fact, what I was thinking about doing, if I could figure out a way to cover it, if I do another one, what I'm going to do is on the top, up here on the top, up here, I was actually going to put a frog gig up here, then have a way to cover it, like something I could snap over it and cover it while I'm walking. But if I have to gig for a frog or defend myself, like you said with a point, that gig will do the same thing. That's what I was going to do to cover it, like some of my leather, something like that. But put that frog gig up here. That'd be one thing. Then I want to make the handle big enough, probably like more like down to here, so I could get almost a full 50 feet. Hey, what's up, LS? Ah, gotcha. But I want to put the handle down here so I can get about a full 50 feet of paracord. Right here, what I got right here, that's about 30 feet of paracord right there. Each one of these, you can't really see them too well. Let me back it up, see if you can see it. Can't really see them too well, but there is probably about 2 foot there. Well, not 2 foot, more than 2 foot. I have about 30 foot of paracord right here. So what I want to do is get about a full 50 feet, and underneath that 50 feet, when I wrap it, I'm going to have my tarp underneath there, my like a hiking top. Sorry, I'm laughing at Frank's comment there. But I want to do the wrap. I want to put the tarp underneath this here, underneath the handle, and I may haul it out and put a couple things inside of there, like a small multi blade, like a small multi tool type of deal, more like a Swiss Army knife, something like that. Maybe put something like that in there, or I have a couple, two, three different ideas. It's either that, or I was going to actually make it extra long, still put the gig up here, but maybe try to get 100 feet of paracord on it, and in like a one or two Altoid tins, have them up in here and do the wrap around the Altoids tins and everything, so the wrap holds everything in place. And the way I do a wrap, like the way I wrap this, it completely locks everything down. I do it a lot differently than what everybody else does for a stick because I actually drill 2 holes. I drill 2 holes. I pull it through the top, center it off, then put the tails through the bottom. Then I start wrapping up using the two sides that come down from the top. I use that as a almost like a post, so I can wrap around there, and whatever's inside of this will get locked in. The only way to get it out is to actually take all the paracord off. But also the way that I have it is I seen like that the people who do the wrap that do like a loop underneath, then pull it tight. I've always had issues with them, and sometimes in order to get it started off, it's hard. This one, the only thing I have to do to get it off is undo this knot, undo this knot, and work it out, and it comes loose, and away it goes. Hey, Mousy, how you doing, hon? But I was coming up with a lot of different ideas at that meet and greet, though, too. And I think like a lot of other people were coming up with ideas as well. Um, like one thing that was fascinating for me, and yesterday's chat kind of made me see another aspect of that. I think we were too. But with the talk yesterday about how um, Backwoods kind of got you into prepping purple, and how you two interacted off each other at that meet and greet, I think was to me was absolutely fascinating because it was almost in a lot of cases, and I'm not saying all cases, but in a lot of cases, if Backwoods was talking about something, Purple Bear, Purple Tea Bear, or was thinking something, Purple would actually finish the thought, and vice versa. They knew what each other was thinking almost the whole time that they were there, almost the whole time. And I mean, it was awesome. I can tell. I can tell. And the scary part is when it came to commiserating about Pittsburgh, we were all we were all completing each other's sentences, especially about frickin' Oakland. Because Me and Purple worked down in the city. Exactly. Exactly for both of you. Hey, whatever works, works, right? But it's the whole get together because I keep on bouncing back and forth off that topic. Exactly, Purple. Exactly. And where I'm going to be delivering that now is actually maybe one stop in Pittsburgh off of 20. No, it's off of 376. But I'm going to be doing like Monroeville and east of Monroeville now, which I'm like, eh. But back to what I was saying, I digress. Oh, Somerset, 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 Somerset. About two. I think it's about 2.5 hours. I'm trying to think because I actually did a route that ended in Somerset, and I had to drive back the Turnpike. And I think I was on the Turnpike for the better part of 2 hours, and I had to go north. So I'm saying about at least 2 to 2.5 hours. Yeah, that's where I went backwoods to the Giant Eagle and the hospital out there. Then I had to drive back to the Turnpike and come back. I can't see. I only ran that route for one day, so I can't remember what the hospital name was. But the Giant Eagle wasn't a half a mile from the hospital. That actually sounds familiar. Yeah, but as I said, I only ran that one day, and I was like, "That's enough." That's where I was working at. I didn't have a route at the time, so they just kind of made me fit wherever. I get paid by the hour. I was to the point I get paid by the hour. If they fire me, they fire me. I don't care. It's just oh, I've heard some, and see, the whole thing is, I used to hang out in West Virginia, but I've heard so many West Virginia jokes that it's just, oh, and I'll just leave it at that. But one idea I had for the get together for next year is I found a game. A welcome to what West Virginia proves Einstein's theory. Everyone is relative. I can imagine. But what's the name of that game? It's a card game, but it's one of those games that makes you think. Conflicted. The game's called Conflicted. And what it is you pull a card and you read a scenario, then you talk about the scenario. And there's a way to award points and stuff, but but it looks like it'd be an interesting game. So after the chat, I'm gonna look into that and maybe get one or two decks and just see what it's all about. See, I've never played it before, Mouse, so that's why it looks very intriguing. And they have like 10 different decks. I think the last two or three decks is not really so much scenarios as it is ideas. Yeah, see, I got the idea out of this. Going back up, there we go. Survival magazine or survival guide, and it's. I'll tell you what about the magazine. There's a lot of stuff in there. There's a lot of stuff in there I don't really agree with because it's one of those magazines where they push a lot of stuff. Yes, he did, but there's like a lot of other ones in there that just like they gave like a couple examples. Like the one that kind of blows my mind, and Mouse Toast pretty much gave the answer to it. You're in a group, and there's a group coming. Now, you don't know. They don't know you might be hostile. They don't know if you're hostile. You don't know if they're hostile. But you can't really take a chance on it because your supplies are dwindling, so you can't really take any more people into your group. Do you shoot first or do they shoot first? But whoever shoots first, they're going to kill the other one's children in the process. Which it's just like, ooh. As soon as they got to that part, I'm just like, well, it sounds like an easy answer. That depends on where you are, backwoods. If you're in Detroit, fire first, ask questions later. But it's like one of those things. It's like I was good with what my answer is, so they brought the kids into the equation. Now it's like, ugh. So it's going to make you think, and it's very controversial because, like Mouse said, uh, what your best option is. Not only do you not want to hear somebody say it, you don't want to say it because it's just like, ugh. And like some of the stuff that, just talking about that, see, I like how backwoods things quick, simple, and on the way. Boom. Hey, Savage. See, that's another good point. But that's just like just one of the scenarios. Um, there's one about financial collapse, one about you trying to survive on your own. I said there's like 10 different decks, and I think we should try to make an 11th deck to have just to throw a wrinkle in things because this is like a teaching tool. But let's throw a wrinkle in things. Let's see if we can make one a 52 card deck with scenarios that deal with zombies. I think that'd be more like your fun deck. Like you have like 10 serious decks and you have the 11th one. That'd be your fun deck. Like the zombie is coming after you. You run out of ammunition. You have an axe, a crowbar, and a fly swatter. What do you hit him with? Me myself, I'd be hitting him with the crowbar because I don't want his blood on me. Oh, see, yeah, I know. So that's what I'm saying. Like maybe we should come up with a zombie deck, something like that. Just something like off the wall. Or that's another one. That's I see. Like what Rescue Boss says is just look over. I want to get like a couple, two, three to deck. Just look them over, just see what they're like, and then try to make my own. Like he said there. Oh, there you go. Well, that see backwards has a good idea. Has the right idea too. Me, I was just gonna bash the living snot out of them. Well, see, I could do it on index cards. Take everything that I have and send the 52 ideas I have to them, and have them laugh at me and probably send it back. But Just something different. Or another one that they don't have, but I think it'd be interesting would be, how about a get home? You're out, SHTF happens, and you have to get home because you're by yourself, and like different scenarios on the way there. Oh, exactly. See, what I was thinking about that too, Milestones with the crowbar. But if I had my choice of weapon in the zombie apocalypse, I want a minigun and a really tall turret. That's what I'd want. Yeah, with most automatic weapons, other than the minigun, pretty much. Just get yeah. This is what somebody told me about a minigun over any other automatic weapon. He goes, an automatic weapon, if you panic, you kind of spray and pray. With the minigun, you just have to spray. Don't even worry about praying because you're gonna. If you wave like past them like 2 or 3 times, you will hit them. Period. GH bouncing betties. Well, I thought the bouncing Betty was a bomb that they used to destroy dams with. Kind of skip, bounce across the water, hit the dam, roll down the dam like a death charge. Boom. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Get home. Duh. Okay. It's been a long day, dude. This is true, but if I'm going to go out, I'm going to have fun, damn it. That that's like one gun I've always wanted to shoot is a minigun. Oh, oh, okay, 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 okay. Yeah, but yeah, I think a get home deck would be interesting though too, because if you think about like using your get home bag or having to get home and you're away from home, if you're away from home and you have to get home, you could probably think of 52 scenarios in the first day of something that might go wrong. Talking about landmines, actually, depending on where it's at in Texas, I have relatives down there. Well, LS, glad to see you made it home. But where is it? Talking about, yeah, I was talking about landmines. I don't know if you guys ever seen the meme on Facebook. It's one of those people who likes different crystals, and each crystal does a different thing for the human body. Well, they took these crystals and pasted them all over the airbag portion of their steering wheel, all over the place. They're like, so why work to drive to work? I can get charged up. And then on the bottom of the picture it says, "Okay, genius, you realize you just turned your airbag into a Claymore anti-personnel mine." I seen that. I was like, "Oh, good lord! Don't get in an accident! Don't get in an accident!" It was a slight tap. I don't know how they died. I got looks like a gunshot wound, a stab wound, a blunt force trauma. Try to yeah, it'd be like I'd like to try to see the coroner try to figure that one out. What happened? I don't know. My thing is I just keep my mouth shut, let natural selection take its course. Boom. Yeah. Which I like how Savage brought up a scavenger. That's one thing, and I'm doing a little bit of digging with it, getting some more ideas. That's one thing I haven't heard too many different prepper or survivalist sites talk about is scavenging. Like not what to scavenge and why to scavenge it, but different things you can scavenge and different uses for it. Oh, what's wrong, Frank? What happened? But back to the meet and greet though. We are Prepper X. That's the best thing I can say about that. We are Prepper X. Period. Everybody came together. It was a like a it was family. I wasn't say it was like family. It was family. And I want to thank the ones who made it. I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart, man. You guys rock. Prepper X rocks. But I'm as I said, I'm thinking about having another one next year about the same time. As I said, I have to take my vacations. I have to put in my vacation time pretty much at the beginning of the year. So I try to have it. Oh, no problem, backwoods. So every year I try to take the same 2 weeks off. One in May, right before, uh, right before spring, and one right before fall. Oh, no problem, rescue boss. I loved it. See you later, Savage. Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. But yeah, I'll keep you guys when it comes closer to the time to have it. I'll let you guys know. But it's probably going to be about the same time next year, a week after my tractor show. But if everything works out, I'm going to try for the 1 week in May, the week right before Memorial Day. So I start on the Friday, I go through that week, and I still have that Monday off. Then I go back to work. It's like a 10 day. It's almost like a 2 week paid vacation. Hey, whatever works, right? Exactly. That's what I was thinking too. I mean, that's one reason why I picked it. I mean, there's the other one that was up on the hill. That was that's by itself. There's no other shelter, just that one up on the hill. My problem with that one was if we had somebody came out as handicapped or couldn't quite negotiate that hill, they'd have a problem getting up because it's steep. You'll see. I did have another idea. Rescue. The idea I had is if I had it next year. Oh, I'm going to have it next year, but instead of having it at a shelter, I was going to rent a cabin and stay in the cabin for like 2 or 3 days, and like probably leave the cabin on Sunday the day after. And the reason I wanted to have it at the cabin is one thing we didn't have there that I think the cabins have is I think each cabin has a fire ring. So we can make a fire and we can actually stay longer because the cabins have electricity. So we could actually go inside for a while too. So the thing is that time of year, I think I'd be spending a little bit more on the cabin than it would during off peak time. But I have to weigh out my options one way or the other. But it would still be, it'd still be at Moraine. If not at Moraine, Then I move it down to Raccoon, which still isn't that far away. In fact, for a couple people, for like Rescue Boss, it'd be a little bit closer for like Rescue Boss and the people coming up from West Virginia because it's probably about another 30 miles closer to the southern border of Pennsylvania, but it's not really on the main drag though. So you kind of have give and take on both of them. But that's an idea that I had anyway. Ah, okay. That's another idea I had. And as I said, if I couldn't get one at Marine State Park, I could still get one at. I could probably still get one at Raccoon. But we've reached the top of the hour, so I think I'm gonna call this chat done. As I said, I want to thank everybody for coming here. I want to thank everybody for coming to the meet and greet. Just some reminders here. Tomorrow night, Miss Nina has. Hopefully, she's feeling better too. But tomorrow at 7 o'clock Central Louisiana time or 8 o'clock Eastern, Nina has her chat. Then at 9:30 Eastern is the Honey Badgers chat. Which, if it's anything like last Wednesday's was, I think we're gonna be laughing for like 45 minutes, which was awesome. I loved it, especially watching watching Mouse and Nina laughing so hard they're about crying. That was hysterical. Exactly, Purple. Then is FOP going to be home on Friday night? Does anybody know? Okay, then we'll have the Prepper X chat on Friday at 8 o'clock. It goes from like 8 to 10. Then I'll probably have the after show. Then at 8 o'clock Mondays, Backwoods has a live stream on Prepper X as well. So all kinds of stuff going on here. But I thank you guys again, and I'll see you probably Friday night. So talk to y'all later. Good to see you too, Just Aid, and good night, buddy.